Hi, I'm Jane Brecken. I'm being joined by Dr. Rosie Kuhn today, and we are doing part 5 of Deep Recovery, the workshop that's coming to Brainerd on August 13th and 14th. Welcome, Rosie.
Thanks, Jane.
I'm wondering if we couldn't just continue with our inquiry regarding your book, Me, 101 Indispensable Insights I Didn't Get in Therapy. Just to sort of distinguish again a bit more about the differences between counseling and therapy and treatment and life coaching, specifically life coaching. And you talked last time about principles and ways in which, so we have these principles that we go live by. Hence, then we ask the 4 questions of people, and from that comes our ability to sort of see ourselves and live according to those principles. Can you talk some more about the principles piece and how we as life coaches or therapists walk our talk by living our principles?
Well, I can make that a very big question or answer, or I can make it a little answer. So I'm going to do a little bit of both. So first of all, I have a whole series of videos on YouTube called Becoming a Transformational Coach. There's 40 videos there that are all, each of them is under 2 minutes long, that talks about all of the aspects of being a transformational coach from the beginning to the end. So it's a great place to get more information about transformational coaching and the process and the principles and the skills. So no, that's number one. So number two, each of us are operating from principles, whether it's as a human being, as a business person, as a therapist or a coach, counselor, as a whatever. We are operating from a set of principles. And most of us don't explore and discover what those principles are. But quite often with clients, I'll say, so what's your absolute truth? What do you know to be true? And quite often people will say, well, I believe that there's a higher power, a divinity, a divineness in the universal unfolding. I believe and I trust and I know that there's love everywhere. I believe that the universe is abundant and always, always providing for us. It's like, okay, great. So how do you live that in your everyday life? And they'll go, well, I don't, because I'm afraid that I won't get a job, or I'm afraid I won't find love, or I'm afraid that, and so their list of fears show up and they start to say, I don't live by my principles, my highest truth, my absolute truth, because these relative truths scare me too much and I don't want to deal with them. Okay. So a lot of what we're doing in coaching and transformational coaching and in the recovery work is recovering our ability and our capacity to live in our absolute truth. That's what we're about. The 12-step programs really help us do that. The accountability that's required to work a 12-step program is huge demand of accountability and integrity in relation to our absolute truth and our principles. Okay? So that's the big answer about principles and how we live. So let's talk about, as a person that works in the field of recovery, either as a therapist, counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, sponsor, co-fellow in a fellowship program, we each have a principle and what we believe to be true that we operate from. So in a sense, quite often in therapies and psychiatry and psychology, there's a principle that we're dysfunctional, that there's a dysfunction at play, or a pathology that's at play here that needs to be fixed. Okay, that's sort of what the DSM is all about, is that there's something broken, something that needs to be fixed, and I'm here to help fix it. Okay, so that's a perspective. Another perspective is we're all spiritual directors, spiritual guides, and this is sort of fundamental of my foundations of work, is that we're all spiritual beings who are here within this human experience to learn and to grow. And we don't know how to do that. And so we make it up and we create processes that hopefully will help us, but a lot of times they don't. And so how do we be with that? So my job then is to be a thinking partner for people and to talk to them as if they know they're here to learn and grow and evolve. And so I ask the question, well, what do you want? What's in the way of that? What's in the way of you having what you want? So my friend,
go ahead. There's the questions that become really key.
Yeah. And this comes back to the place of dilemma that we talked about in the business workshop videos, in a sense that the dilemma is that I want to live in my absolute truth, but I'm afraid that people won't like me, that I'll be found out a fraud, that this really isn't true at all, and I've been duped or whatever, okay? So the dilemma is, do I live in my absolute truth and risk failure? Do I live in my fears and risk never getting to my absolute truth? Okay.
Right.
So therapy and counseling and all of that encourages and evolves in individuals to grow their capacity to be self-reliant, self-empowered, self-evolving.
Exactly. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Rosie. And as you're talking about this, I just can't help in my own experience as a professional in addictions field to see that we can all together. So as helpers, we may have those other folks that are also empowering our same client, and it works really well together. It can work really well together. It isn't an either or situation.
That's right.
Both and.
Quite often my
that.
clients are going to 2 or 3 meetings a week, and they may be working or they may be working with a therapist while they're working with me. And we're doing different things. We're holding people in different ways. And it's really good to know that teamwork could be really, really valuable. It doesn't have to be that way. It's really up to the client, to the individual. But there's so many possibilities to really come into that fulfillment of our human spirit.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Rosie. That's a good place for us to stop for now. But until we meet again, just thank you so much for offering all of this powerful, wonderful wisdom you have. And we'll speak again, I'm sure.
All right.
Thanks.
If not, I'll see you
Rosie.
in Minnesota in August.
All right. Bye, Rosie.
Right. Bye-bye.